Hey guys, this is my review for the Trilogy by Day Buck and then some as well. So first thing, these DVDs here, I got them all just this year, and I thought I want to give my input on it because I haven't seen many reviews of these. Now, for those of you who are subscribed to me, if you're gonna start Magic, then I would suggest starting with the everything else. That's probably what I would start with. It teaches you some of the basic techniques. It kind of has a bit of an advance. It's a little, like, slightly more advanced than just the basics. Like, you need to know, like, the grips and, like, double lifts and stuff like that. You also have to know, like, terms like, breaks and all that stuff. Also the peak, that's one that you'd have to know, stuff like that. So that's like what beginners would start out with. Now, if you're a flourisher, you may want to consider yourself very advanced because on the flourishes DVD, these are very difficult. I mean, there are only a few on this one that are easy. The card in hand fan you could probably get down within like half an hour, but to get down completely, I still haven't gotten it down. I still drop like 1 or 2 cards when I'm doing it. You may have to just minimize like the number of cards. So yeah, also on the tricks DVD, most of these tricks say they're advanced, but they're actually rather easy. Well, at least they are for me. Yeah, it said collectors, which is where you produce the aces while at the same time finding the 2 selected cards. With that trick, basically it says that it's advanced. It was easier than I ever thought it would even be. It was so easy. Now, the weird thing is that the only trick that there are only like 2 tricks in here that aren't like too obvious. Like Swiss made, that was kind of it's kind of difficult to get the spin change down. And on 69, it's that's kind of flashy because of the way you're showing the 6s, and then you turn them into 9s. So yeah, so let me just review them. I'll just review each trick one by one, starting with the trick section. Okay. Now the TiVo Transpo, it's a bluff. Okay. The credits are Bluff Shift by Joshua J. and Aaron Fisher inspired the Super Flip by Ben Harris. I may have said that wrong. Basically, TiVo Transpo is basically a little difficult. Basically, you dribble the cards, have a card selected, you flip it over, have to get it looked at, flip it back over, dribble the cards on top of it before you out-jog it. Then you flip over the top card, and in dribbling it, it turns into that card that you left out-jogged. And then it gets flipped out, and then you flip the pack over to show that out-jogged card, and it's the original card. Now this one used a pretty obvious move, which is why it's kind of angle sensitive. So that's what I thought of it. Yeah, it's a little difficult to get the super flip part down. You'll understand if you get it. Okay, here we go. TiVo 2.0. Now this one is this one is kind of difficult. Like the exchange of the cards. Basically, the Cardini change is the Cardini change variation is a little difficult to get down. You probably won't have any problem with the center double. And you'll also, on everything, sorry, on and then some, there's also a variation of that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Basically, it's called that's called the Spin Doctor Double, where it comes out of the center. This one is Doctor 90210, which is the nice little flourish that you add to it. Subway. This one is a very nice effect, and what you do, and like on and then some, it tells you a variation that you can do with it. It's pretty nice. It's really awesome. Subway's just a nice little trick. You also learn one of the most convincing controls ever. Where is it? Basically, it's a effect inspired by Earl Nelson's Submarine Sandwich. The DMB control is a version of Frank Simmons' versatile control. You can search that, just look it up. So I really love Subway. I need to perform it more. It's like it should be my most performed. I mean, Dan or Dave or whoever it was, one of them said it was their most performed effect because it's their favorite. Okay, Cards Across. Oh, that one's a really good one. Uh, this effect inspired by Aaron Fisher's Lucky Number 9, and the one-handed popover production is also by Aaron Fisher. So that's a nice little effect. The card can be basically a card is selected from the deck, left out jogged, and then put into half the deck, which you hold in your left hand, and then after you push it in, it ends up in your right hand, sticking out of the pack face up. Another version of this is considered taught on and then some, which is Portal, but that's it was easier than I thought it would be. So yeah, you might want to get that. Hand to mouth. Basically, that uses the same art selection in Cards Across. Basically, instead of going to the other pack, appears in your mouth. That's basically it. Just uses a special card selection method or technique called Floop by Simon Lavelle. At least that's how I think you pronounce it. Deja Vu, the first sandwich production concept by Bill Goodwin. The 444 Switch by Kiss Kenner, and the Duck Change by Hiro Sakai. By the way, I'm just reading the credits here, so that's all. Okay, so basically, you have a card selected. And left out jog. Immediately, you produce the 2 red aces, which are sandwiching that card. You then place that sandwich on the table face down. You have another card selected, and then by shooting it back at the pack, it turns into the sandwich of their 2 red aces. And those 2 cards are flipped over to show and are revealed to be the black aces, sandwiching the second selection. And that's Deja Vu. Twin Split Remix, that one's basically allows you to just like yank one of the, pull off one of the pips for, you pull off one of the pips of a 3, and then, so now you're left with a 2 and an ace. And then you throw the ace back onto the 2, turning it into a 3 again. So then there's another one where called Fishing for Aces, where you start with an 8, split it into 2 4s, then you split it into 2 2, then split one of those 4s into 2 2s, and then with one hand you split one of the 2s into 2 aces. That's pretty nice. Okay, Hofsey Osborne. Basically, this is a variation. This is Dan and Dave Buck's variation, or their take on Hofzinser's aces. Yeah. Effect inspired by Hofzinser. 444 Switch by Chris Kenner. Force inspired from Erdnase. Elm's Account by Alex Elmsley. And The Grave Turnover by Lee Asher, as well as the Shapeshifter Change by Mark D'Souza. That's another nice one. That one's kind of difficult to explain, and plus it takes time. The Queens. Effect inspired from Bill Goodwin's The Queens. First Vanish is a variation of Roy Walton's Paintbrush Change. Third Vanish by Cardini and Daniel Garcia. Last Vanish by Chad Nelson, but that's only in the performance. It's actually just a bottom palm. It's a clip shift. Swiss Made. Inspired by Steve Freeman's handling of the Back in Time plot by Roy Walton, and The Spin Flourish by Dr. Jacob Daly. Basically, Swiss Made is basically Steve Freeman's time machine effect done with a face-up card. So imagine that. Okay. Collectors. Basically, I just described that at the beginning. Okay. Hedberg's Peak. This is basically you show that 2 cards have transposed by leaving one on the bottom and one on top. With a snap, you make them transpose and you show them. However, you show that was an illusion and they never really did transpose, but it was because it was only an illusion. 69. Basically, through the 69, you take 3 6s and mix them up, say that you're making them dizzy and stuff, that they start to think they're 9s, and because basically the 6 is just upside down, so it looks like a 9. And this time when you really do turn the cards around, they really are 9s. So yeah, and that's all in the tricks section. Now let's move on to the flourishes section. I'm just going to give a scale on how hard they are, as well as tell give it the description of what it looks like. Carnahan fan. Basically, this is like with one hand you turn over a card. You turn over the deck while flipping over the card. Well, basically the deck's facing your hand and squared up, and when in one motion you flip it over as well as giving a fan. It's not really is beautiful, and yeah. Molecule 4. Basically, it's just the fourth version of the molecule cut, which you can find molecules 1 through 3 on the system DVD. Also, basically, there's 3 versions of this. A fourth version is on And Then Some as well. Pandora. This one is like very difficult. Like they like really twist around. It's like really it like starts out a little slow and then it starts to speed up. I guess it starts out as like right after medium speed and then it goes off to like really fast. Okay, the Erdnase go round. Basically, it's a oh sorry, I missed the Jackson 5. Jackson 5. This one is the most difficult. It's 6 phases. You have the Madonna 3, the Symbolism, the Skater Cut, Sybil, Lino Cut, and Genesis. 6 phases. Those are the 6 phases. Erdnase go round. Inspired by Chris Kenner idea and one hand shift by Erdnase. Basically, the Erdnase go round is like where you take the bottom, you split the deck, and the bottom packet flips around and goes on, or you can like it either flips around or it spins. Basically, that's a pretty cool one. Vertigo, you can like Vertigo. It's basically like the Erdnase go around, except you do it with the middle packet and then catch it. It's in the same order. It's not a cut. Or you can also do it where you kick it off your foot. That's a Vertigo. Eco is basically 3 or 4 packs. It's basically that's probably the easiest flourish on the DVD besides the Carnahan fan. It's just you got to get your just the speed is the only thing that you really got to worry about. Mecha is a nice variation of basically uses a bunch of revolution cuts in it. I wouldn't say that. If you think I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me. Akira is another tornado flourish. Basically, you take a pack and then you cut the deck and then you flick it around your hand and it lands back in between the 2 packs. The tectonic verb is basically spinning around like this. Kind of the packets spin around each other like so. And those are the flourishes. And now on the Everything Else DVD, you get Lapal spread, variation of the Lapal spread. Basically, it like has an S shape instead of a U. The TG deck flip is basically the flip of the deck. Hugh Scott shuffle is an upside down shuffle. Basically, you flick it off your riffle it off your fingers instead of your thumbs. The 360 deck spin is basically just an all around instead of an all around square up. Under Pressure is a nice little flourish you can do. You've probably seen them do that. I would make a video of that later. I'll even put a link up in the corner. Heap Snatch is a false table cut. The blackjack production allows you to produce aces, and then you hit them by producing also the jacks, and matching them up to make the blackjacks. Shuffle aces allows you to take the ace production from the blackjack production and do it in the hands, like walk around. The 40 flourish allows you to have a card selected, lose it back to the deck, spread the deck, and then you turn them over. Only one card is still facing vertically instead of. Yep. Excuse me. Sorry. You also got the click change, which basically you also have the deck in your hand while you're doing the snap change in the left hand. The Jones change is I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to make it a second part. So move on to the second part. I'll put a link up in the corner. I think it was on click change.